And I am the joy guide of the medium. I'm also known as her gatekeeper. It is my responsibility and my privilege to be the person who both watches over the medium while she is in trance and allows other spirits to speak through her should the occasion arrive. And so I tend to act like a master of ceremonies, fielding questions or situations, but I'm kind of in charge of it all behind the scenes. So I won't be with you during this evening unless the other speakers go away. So, and then I will be back at the end of the evening. So for the moment, it is nice to see you all here this evening. And I am going to get a healer to be with each one of you. And as always, when your healer is with you, if you have someone you know who is in need of healing, please just ask your healer by mentally addressing them and just saying, please, and also give healing to, and name the people or persons that you would like to be healed. Okay, so I'm going to get you all a healer now. One moment, please. Okay, so now I'm going to get Ronkar, who will be our speaker for this evening. One moment. Good evening. It is I, Ronkar. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. In our previous weeks, we have been discussing the energy of love. And just for a brief recap, I am reminding you that love is the energy of all creation. For nothing becomes into being or manifestation unless you or the creator love the idea that they have created or that has come into their mind. And as they love their ideas, so it is that creation takes place. And if you think of it on the physical level, that is true on the physical level in the world that you exist. It is also true in spirit. Although spirits, we do not create when we are in the spirit life. We do not have that ability. And that, of course, is one of the reasons why we do like to incarnate into the physical world so that we can fulfill the way in which we are most like our creator, to be a creator ourselves. But in this evening's lecture, I would like to bring a part of the subject of love up, and that is to speak about how important it is that you love yourself in every way, that you accept yourself as you are, and that you are willing to, continue to love yourself. For if you do not love yourself, you set up obstacles and barriers to your own happiness. And so this is obviously an obstacle and a barrier are obstacles and barriers. And so you may not be able to achieve your heart's desire. You may not be able to enjoy life to the fullest extent because things will always seem to be out of your reach. If you do not love yourself, if you do not feel you are worthy, and if you do not feel that you deserve to have all the good things in your life, that part of yourself, which is referred to as your subconscious mind, will act as an obstacle toward the achievement of your goals. You will find yourself forgetting things. Not that you deliberately forget them consciously, it's just that you do not remember them. That is because your subconscious mind cripples your memory to some extent or another, making it more difficult for you to achieve your goals. You will forget to do things. You will be late for appointments because you will decide to take a route in which there will be extra traffic. Not that you would choose that deliberately. It is just one of those things that happens. And sometimes this is caused by your subconscious mind, who knows what is going on and knows that you should not achieve your heart's desire. You should not fulfill your dreams. And so you will always find yourself making mistakes, finding it impossible to finish that which you were starting, or that you were on the road to achieving. Unexpected obstacles will come up. It is because in your subconscious mind, you do not feel that you are worthy or deserving of achieving your goals and happiness. Of course, this programming came to you as a child when, if you were naughty in some way, your parents said to you, you do not deserve dessert tonight. You do not deserve a new bicycle because you have been a bad boy. Santa Claus will not come to this house because you have not been a good child. You will not receive any Christmas presents. And so this has been programmed into you, perhaps a great deal, for some more than others. But it's important to know that if you continually fail at achieving your goals and your dreams, that you could have this obstacle within yourself because part of you may be saying that you do not love yourself. You may find yourself always getting into relationships which do not serve you, people who take advantage of you, people who mistreat you. These all could come about, again, because your subconscious mind will help to make you attracted to unsuitable people. Perhaps you will feel that you like to help people. And so therefore you are always making up relationships with people who need help. And while that may be gratifying for you, you may also find that they become overly dependent upon you and that they do not develop on their own and they are looking to you to solve all their problems. And so you may not be happy in your life with this relationship because it is not nurturing to you in the long run if you are always giving of yourself and never receiving gratitude and never receiving love from other people. For people who use other people do not love them. They want them to be there so that they can use them, but they do not love you for yourself. They love you for what you can do for them. So if you love yourself, you look at your relationships and you see if these relationships nurture and uplift you, or whether they drain you and make your life more difficult. And if you love yourself, you let go of those relationships that drain you and make your life more difficult. For you deserve to be happy. You came into this creation with the purpose of creating a wonderful life for yourself that is filled with prosperity, filled with happiness, filled with joy. And so you are entitled to manifest these things in your life. It is why you came, and it is what is the reason why you continue to incarnate, because it is everyone's goal to manifest a wonderful life in which they are uplifted, happy, and in which they also enrich the lives of others. For you see, to be truly happy, you also do need to offer something into the creation. You need to give of yourself in such a way that you benefit others around you. That is not to say that you allow people to use you. It is just that you find satisfaction in whatever your career or work is that you do. And taking satisfaction in your life is a prerequisite that comes with doing things correctly in an incarnation. You feel satisfied with the life that you live in every day. It makes you happy. Now, of course, in the physical condition, you may say that it is not always possible to be happy in every day, that things happen which make you unhappy. And that's true. You can see things that happen and you can decide to be unhappy because they are happening. But if you are the master of yourself, you also do not base your happiness upon what is happening around you. You base your happiness on what you have inside of you and what you enjoy and what you love in every day. You take pleasure in your work. You take pleasure in your life. And so you create your own happiness. This is an important part of loving yourself, knowing that you have the ability to create your own happiness. That happiness is found within you. And so you love this part of yourself, which continues to manifest a happy, prosperous, fulfilled life. And so, are there any questions what I have spoken in this evening? Or if there are no questions on the subject, you can feel free to ask questions on anything that you wish. Well, I'm sure someone has a question somewhere, so speak up, please.
Agnes, Robyn, Nancy.
Hi, guys.
Well, do you have a question, Agnes?
Yes, Mike does.
Oh, I didn't know I was on. Hi, Ronka.
Hello, Mike.
How do you see the next 4 years in America going? Are we going to continue along the pathway we are now, or are we going to go over to socialism?
I decided several months ago, perhaps 2 months ago, that I was not going to discuss the political situation until the election was over. And so I will decline to answer that question for you, because it is imperative that each of you take the action you feel is in your best interest and vote for the people that you are apprised that will bring about the greatest and best good, not only for yourself, but for society and your country as a whole. Take that obligation seriously and cast your vote, but think carefully about what you wish. It is important for you to be as educated as possible about the options, rather than listening to all the pundits, to think about them and contemplate them yourself, to make your own decisions of whether this person or the other person is likely to bring about the best good for the United States and all your countrymen. So I am sorry to decline to answer your question. But other questions, if they are not political, I will answer.
I have one.
I'm like Joe Biden.
I'm sorry, you are like Joe Biden?
No, I said you sound like a politician tonight.
Yes, well, I have declined to answer. And Nancy has a question.
Okay.
Thank you. Are the first inoculations against COVID going to be safe, or how will we know how long it will take once they start coming out that it will be safe for us to get the COVID inoculation?
I understand your question. There are precautions in place, which in the sense of being safe, they are not likely to make you ill any more than any other vaccination will make you ill. However, you might consider that there is a question of effectiveness it will take time before the full effectiveness of the vaccine is known. They will know that it works, at least in a certain percentage of people, and they will try through their testing to determine the vaccines which are the most effective for the most number of people. And so they will undoubtedly be effective. And you should be able to, they should be safe. There is no reason they should not be safe. All drugs come with a side effects or a risk. And usually you are apprised of the possibilities that could happen. And you can then make your own decision. But undoubtedly, it will be effective to some extent and will probably help you. You should not be as disturbed over the virus at this time, inasmuch as they have learned a great deal about the virus and how it works, and have developed some treatments which help you to overcome the virus. Of course, is not effective for everyone, all the treatments. There are still those, particularly if they have, as they have been stating, underlying conditions. There are much older people, their immune systems may not react as well or as fast, and so therefore they may still succumb from the virus. But you will find the number of deaths resulting from the virus is going down and continues to go down. If you research those statistics, you will find this to be true. So you need not fear it as much as you once did.
Do you think that it's going to shortly end, or will it continue like a flu throughout the rest of the winter?
One moment, let me consider your question. Well, it certainly will not end abruptly, even when they bring out the vaccine. First of all, there are those who absolutely refuse to take any vaccines, believing them to cause difficulty to their bodies. This is certainly true, for most vaccines provoke their purpose is to provoke an immune response. And depending upon your particular system and how your body works, your immune response could be of a different type from other people. And so some people begin to feel slightly sick before their immune response picks up, and others may not have any symptoms at all and will just overcome allow the vaccine to provoke the immune response without giving any symptoms. So it is going to peter on for a while because of all, first of all, not everyone will receive the vaccine on day one, and there will be a process. And those who do not step up to receive the vaccine early will certainly have no way of being protected, for the vaccine will continue for a while. And it may, this is uncertain at this time, it may continue to be either a yearly epidemic, which is like the winter colds that you experience in the physical plane, or it may also continue round the year without having a season, so to speak. Are there other questions?
Yeah. As far as the flu shots, I saw a report on TV that said you shouldn't get a flu shot this year because that would help you catch the China virus, or is
I believe you misunderstood, and I believe it is the other way around. Because your flu shot will help to ramp up your immune system. I know it will be specifically against certain aspects of the flu, certain strains of the flu, but it will still be boosting your immune system to some degree or another, which may help you should you be exposed to the virus.
Okay, so it'd be safe to get a flu shot then this year?
Yes, it is safe to get a flu shot this year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, I got to chime in on this one. This is Robyn. Hi, everyone. I was listening to Sarah Westall today. You can look her up online or through YouTube. But she said that the Agenda 21, which is now Agenda 2030, they talked about this being pre-planned to have some kind of epidemic, some kind of pandemic, epidemic, whatever, quite some time ago. Please research that. And there are many doctors, Dr. Rashid Buttar, B-U-T-T-A-R. I also listen to Cosmic Agency. These are channel Palladians, and they say emphatically, no, do not get the vaccination, because this is part of Agenda 2030, and this is to control the population. Please do your own research. I do respect you, Ron Carr, you know I do. On this one, though, I'm sorry, I got to copy in that everything that I've learned and researched from multiple sources, including off-world beings that are monitoring this. Think about it, folks. Do they tell you what's the ingredients in these vaccinations? No, they do not. Number two, can you sue them if you're harmed in any way? No, you cannot. Number three, there's multiple sources claiming to have the vaccination. Therefore, which one is effective if they were even safe? So again, I know that I'm going to be out there on the fringe with this one, but people have to be awake and aware. Please look at all factors, including what Ron Carr said as well. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to prescribe anything. Do your own research, make your own, determination based on that. And I'll let Ron Carr talk. Thank you, Ron Carr.
Well, you are most welcome, Robyn. And of course, it is important for everyone to make their own decision. They should not be asking me to make a decision for them. I would not wish to be in that position. However, what you have read and you have researched, and some of your sources could be in error also, so that it is simply a degree of which sources you trust. And by all means, everyone should look into it. But you do not have a vaccine at this point in time. And so when that vaccine is available, you can look into it. As for the difference in several people coming up with vaccines, there are always different ways to provoke immune responses. And so in one of the ways is to inject you with weakened viruses or bacteria that cannot do harm, but are very similar to something that is far more deadly and more lethal, in which case this often makes you very mildly sick, but it allows you to ramp up your immune system, which is the purpose of the vaccine against that particular disease. Knowing that there are many types and different ways to stimulate the immune response should not deter you from taking the vaccine if you desire it, simply because there may be more than one way to bring about an immune response. You know, there are several ways to treat cancer. That does not stop you from adopting one way or another to treat the disease of cancer, depending, of course, on what you have and what your doctor would recommend and what you feel comfortable with. There are so many ways of dealing with cancer because researchers have found many different ways that are effective over certain cancers and in certain ways. So simply because there is more than one way to do something does not mean you should not choose one of those ways, assuming that each one is wrong. Make the assumption that there is a correct one for you and decide what you would like to do for yourself. It is important. It is part of self-love to be responsible for yourself in every way, to not look to outside sources for everything in your life, to listen to your own knowledge and your own well-being. You know that you are all part of God, because God has manifested this creation from the substance of his own being, and everything in this creation is made up of the substance of God. You all share a common heritage, and you all have the blessings and the abilities of God. Now, you are not perhaps all powerful, but even to an extent, you also create yourself by taking what you have and turning it into another human being. since it may take a male and a female, but you have the power of creating a new life within yourself through cooperative efforts with both of the sexes, and so that you are creators in every way. And essentially, you are simply bringing into being something that did not exist before, simply by contributing a part of yourself to the process, and then nurturing it within a body so that it can grow and become the baby and eventually the adult human being that you all are at this point in time. So do not limit your thoughts of yourself as the power that you have to create, to find the truth, even through contemplation in your own mind, what is correct, without researching elsewhere. You can come to your own conclusions, you can come to your own decisions, because everything of God is contained within you. It is only for you to find it, to reach it, to be open to understanding. And then you will come to know things which you have simply come to know, but not through knowing through the senses or education. You certainly just know that it is true. And for each of you, there has been a time in your life when you have had that happen in your life, where you just know that something is right, or you just know that something is about to happen, or you just understand suddenly what you did not understand before. For your desire to know what you wish to know is enough to bring the information to you through osmosis, so to speak, through psychic means, through the ethers into your mind, through the words of others. Your desire to know and understand attracts to yourself the information that you need. And so know yourself to be capable of such wisdom and understanding, for I tell you that you are. Are there other questions?
Since no one's chiming in, I don't want to run over people. This is, you talk about love earlier. Thank you. That was beautiful, by the way. My new job, it's been kind of a roller coaster. It's a new corporate culture for me. It's a vastly different environment. And there's just been a couple of quirks along the way, starting this new job. Misinterpretations, I guess, misperceptions might be a word. Trying to get a handle on their perspective of me. I get signals that it's positive, but then there's these brief moments where I scratch my head and wonder what that was about, or I don't know, maybe it's my perceived paranoia, I guess, because I've been at my other place for so long, and it was a very small place compared to this place. I mean, I'm now in a place of over 150 people, I'm told. Obviously not all at one time, we come and go throughout the day. And the other was maybe tops 15 people, and everyone knew each other and had, just a very different relationship. And the corporate dynamic is very, very different. I'd just like your take, if you could just copy me in at any level as to management, how they truly perceive me. There's just other indicators that others have been given things that I haven't, offered things that I haven't. And I've been there even longer than this one individual. So, I'm kind of scratching my head over it. I can't say too much because then it kind of, I don't know if I said where I work now, but, since it's an open forum, I just want to keep it general. But I'd like to know what their take is on me, particularly management, supervisory and upper management.
Perhaps someone was offered something else which you were not offered, because in order for them to be successful, or they were in need of having some help or aid. which is something I wish to mention to you, that just because you were not offered something does not mean you were denied something. It just means that they probably did not feel it was necessary to give it to you or to offer it to you. That sometimes people receive help of others in situations because they are more in need of help than someone else who is competent and is not in need of help. You could always go to your supervisor and ask or to state that you have noticed that this was available to someone else and you would like it in your life if you could. And is there a way that you need to do something you need to do to achieve that privilege, or can you just avail yourself of that information and use that? You see, you do not have to be quiet and waiting for them. You see, I do not want to assess your supervisors or your management's opinion of yourself and to give this to you at this time, simply because it behooves you to just continue to do your job as best as you can. And you can certainly check with your management or your supervisor to see if you are doing everything that they want you to do by asking these intelligent questions about procedures. You will gain knowledge and your self-education will be more beneficial than my merely saying they are pleased with your performance. Do you understand?
Yeah, I was thinking more on the lines of many years ago, my car got totaled and I came to you and I said, what the heck was that about? And you said, well, you weren't going to get a new car just by asking your husband, that something had to happen to the car you currently have. And I laughed at that because that's exactly the truth. I had a neighbor who made a comment about my car, and I don't know why I was very self-conscious after that, because I never thought about it before she made the comment. And then after that comment, I decided I want another car, but I couldn't justify it. There was no way. We didn't have the car that long. It served our purpose. We'd have to go hassle with buying a whole new car. And then it ends up the car got totaled, you know, and it wasn't really mangled. It was just cheaper for the insurance company to write it off than to repair it. And so I ended up getting a vastly different car. I didn't want any association with that car. And the car served me well for 12
Please let me
years.
Respond.
Yeah. But
Yes,
it was.
Yes, but do not keep talking so that I can address your point in a timely fashion. If you keep talking, you will be beyond the subject of my giving you the answer for that difference between the two situations.
Yeah.
In the car situation, that comes into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind knew what you wanted. And it did not feel you were not deserving of having that car in any way. And so it helped you to attract to yourself the situation which permitted you to get a new car. You knew all the reasons in your mind why it was not practical for you to get a new car, but your subconscious mind saw to it that you got a new car. Do you understand? Now you are working. So this is not a case of trying to get some information or trying to find out how to get a car or asking me why you got the car in this way. It is, you are asking information that you are quite capable of ascertaining for yourself through some discrete inquiries. The car could not come to you because you know all the reasons why it wasn't possible for you to seek a new car. You knew all the limitations in your mind, but your subconscious mind knew that you deserved a new car because you are that type of person and feel that way about yourself. So therefore, your subconscious mind actually attracted or helped you to be in the right place at the right time to be involved in an accident which totaled your car, which made it necessary for you to get the new one.
So that in that regard, since I'm burned out of my other job, could it be, and I wasn't specific, but I can be now, this individual was offered a full-time position, even though I made clear I wanted a full-time position. I wasn't offered originally, and then it opened up again. And again, I missed out 2 times getting a full-time position. I have a part-time position. I left a full-time position. And so he was offered at the interview, oh, you're applying for a part-time position? You want the full-time? And then later on, I said to myself, how did I attract staying in a part-time position when I made very clear I wanted a full-time position? That manager did not know it. He's out of my department, and it wasn't done deliberately to hurt me. I know that for a fact. But I had to think about, well, I guess, Rob, you really wanted a break, and you have other concerns physically with the job requirement. Maybe you just wanted to stay part-time. So that's all I'm just trying to shake out from you.
But you just admitted that the part-time position is suitable for yourself, given the constraints of other areas of your life.
Yeah.
So it is better for you to be in the part-time position. Why should you attract to yourself a full-time position when it would only complicate your life and make it more difficult in other ways? Because you believe that you have an obligation to the others in your life that requires you to be available to help them. You understand what I am saying. I am speaking as roundabout as you have been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my family, they're not here. They're in college, so the demands are not there anymore. But it was more an obligation to my husband to take off pressure from him as the main breadwinner to have money come in for my kids' college education. That was the main thing. And I'm losing a lot of money when I left my old job. It was paying much better. And so that's why I felt, but I was concerned about the physicalness, and they didn't make that clear to me. All the lifting, all the physical demands that the job requires from me, that's the concern that I've had. So in that regard, yes, I'm freed up. And they have given me a lot more hours as a part-timer, considering I am a part-timer. So they do appreciate the quality of the work, that I have been told, my knowledge and whatnot.
And so there will come a time when you can once again request full-time work, and perhaps the right circumstances will be available for you at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And you will probably find that within a week or 2, you will be given even more hours because of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The quarter's over. So thank you.
You are welcome. Are there other questions?
Yes, I was just wondering about the civil unrest that we seem to be seeing jump up all around the United States. And I was wondering if that's going to calm down after the election. Will the police officers take their jobs a little easier and not be so quick to be shooting up everybody that comes in their path? And will people understand not to jump to judgment prior to it happening?
Well, there are many people who have the belief that there will be more violence after the elections if the elections go in one particular way or another. So therefore, I would hesitate to tell you that there will be less violence after the election. People need to be clear in their own minds on what they really want, and not be persuaded by the words and actions of others, particularly calls to action, which, if they consider, are of no benefit to themselves, to either take those actions that they risk harm to themselves in many different ways, and are they really contributing to a better good for everyone in concern? I know you have made reference, even at this moment, that police officers the way you phrased it, I cannot repeat it exactly but I interpret your words to say less action-oriented, less likely to shoot someone is what it seems you were inferring. But in general, if you consider the numbers of interactions between police officers and criminals and other situations in which police officers are involved, the number that result in violence is extremely small, more than extremely small. It is practically non-existent. And you can take one incident and talk about it and cause a great deal of difficulty. But if you look at the number of incidents that happen in every day in which there is a potential for more violence, you will see that it is an insignificant number of them that result in physical violence, either to the criminal or to the police. And as a result, you must consider your own thought and how are you reacting to these words that are coming over the television and over the radio, or because your perception is that too many policemen are making violence. Obviously, you are being swayed to believe that it is a much larger number than it is.
I don't believe that at all, Ron Carr. I think that violence begets violence, and being I have many police officers in my family, of course, I don't think that it's that way. But I do see that that is the way it's being projected. And people are just, I think if they were more concerned of keeping their own side of the street clean and working and doing what they could do, I was hoping that there might be some change in the population itself to move to a maybe gentler nation, because I think that's what we're doing.
I understand what you are saying, and you are correct. People should be more interested in, as you have phrased it, keeping their side of the street clean and to being peaceful in their own actions and to be correct and moral and ethical in their actions. But given that effect, your communications, your media, as they are often referred to, choose to discuss the violence and blow out of proportion what has happened and what has taken place. There are many times when there is a deliberate use of words and language calculated to infuriate people, to make them mad or angry, to bring about violence. Unfortunately, you yourself cannot control this. All you are in control of your own actions and the way you are in your own being, and that is true for everyone. And so therefore, you cannot expect miracles to happen when it is the actions of others, of which are often deliberately phrased and taken to emphasize the wrong thing. For no one is emphasizing self-responsibility for your actions. Do not disobey the law if you do not want to have interactions with police officers. When you have to have an interaction with the police officer, be respectful, do as they say, because you will be okay if you do that. If you fight them, if you irritate them, if you are not nice to them, they will not be nice to you back, because you have said it, violence begets violence. And it isn't always the police officers instigating violence. It is often, and more often, the result of illegal or criminal activity. So therefore, it is a nice thought that people will begin to behave better, but until the media begins to preach self-responsibility and civil behavior, instead of talking about the violence all the time and those things that are wrong and bad, then you are unlikely to get civil behavior. Until it becomes a virtue that all aspire to within themselves, it will simply not manifest.
Why does the media do that?
part of the problem, I believe, is because it is more exciting to talk about exciting things. And criminal activity and violence are far more exciting than peaceful activities. Is that not true? You are aware there is a saying, it has been around for a very long time, that the only news is bad news. People like to talk about bad news rather than good news. And so therefore, this is what they talk about.
But they can see that they're causing problems and they still persist in it.
Yes, you are correct. They do not think that their words are part of the problem. They are merely describing what is happening. They just do not understand it. They do not see that aspect.
Okay, Ronka, I have a totally different question.
Good.
I need to go check on my mom. She had surgery a couple of days ago. And I just wanted to make sure everything went okay, because I know she didn't wake up from it for a while. And I just wanted to know if somebody could pop in and take a look. And you didn't send us healers today. So I need one sent to her.
So you need one sent to her to see how she is. And that is what you are really asking. How is my mother doing?
Yes.
Or are you thinking of visiting her and making that long trip?
I can't do it until after the election. So I would like some reassurance if I could get them.
Yes, one moment, please. And just give me your mother's first name, please.
Purity 10.
Ah, all right. One moment. Yes, she's doing much better now. The anesthesia did cause, she reacted more to the anesthesia than others. She was very sensitive to it. And so it put her into a deeper state out of which she did not return right away. And as a result, she seems to be still a little bit, I'm going to use the phrase, out of it. She is mostly there in full mind, but she is very slow to think yet. I do not know, I believe it is still an after effect of the anesthesia, but I believe she will recover fully and there will be no detrimental effects from this surgery.
Well, thank you. Now, if you could leave a healer over there with her, that would be very good.
Okay. You would like your healer sent to her?
Yes, please.
Yes. We will ask Juana to do that.
Thank you.
I have a question.
You are welcome. Are there other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is
yes.
Doug. It's a two-part question. One is, I heard from many sources that God has a plan for you. For one, not personally, but the person. And how do you know that? And the second part is, I also heard the phrase at the ISD church, you choose who your parents are before you're born, and I guess that involves reincarnation. And how is that so? I don't grasp that.
Yes, two questions which which cover quite a large topic area, but I will be happy to give you as much help as I can. We have some time. I will address first, does God have a plan for you, since that is what you asked. But it is also attached to your second question that you choose your parents. You do choose your incarnation. God has created you in spirit, and he has created human beings in such a way that they have two aspects of themselves. They have that spirit, which is most like God in every way. And they also have the ability to come into the physical world where they can be creators and create their own lives in many ways. And as the result of an act of creation of two people, a male and a female, your parents. And so it comes to you are in spirit, and you wish to incarnate into the physical plane so that you can use your God-given creator, the skill that makes you most like God himself, the power to create. And the only place you can do that is on the physical plane. And so you wish to come into the physical world. And you have to be born to parents, a male and a female. And you have to come into a time and a place. Now, in the beginning, you may have come willy-nilly. I cannot address that on how you came into the physical world. But having been in here once and gone through an incarnation in which you had the ability to create, but perhaps you weren't experienced. You were not experienced. And you didn't make all the right decisions in every time, every opportunity to make your life wonderful in every way, because that is why you come into creation, to create a wonderful life, the life that you're going to live, and to develop your own skills as a creator, but as a person, as a human being, and to be happy in that life, and to create success and prosperity, and to uplift and help others in the planet through whatever service that you do. And so, having come in once, and you still desire to come in because perhaps you were not successful. There is the laws of karma when you come into reincarnation. What is the effect of the actions that you have taken? You can see the effect when you are in spirit. It is much easier to see that, oh, I said this, I did that, and as a result, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And you can see how things in your life develop because of your own actions. Now you're coming into life again, and you want to do better this time. And maybe you feel that you have done disservice to other people in a previous time, that you did something that was not correct. So you can be looking for an incarnation which will give you the skills and the abilities to right that wrong, that you might not make that mistake again, that you will have the knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, or that it may seem strange, but people do choose to come into incarnations where they will be abused. And for what purpose? Well, that may be to experience it, to know it in such a way that one never wishes to do it again for someone else, and is always aware of the actions that they make, whether they are going to be hurting or harming other people. Because people who have experienced being hurt and harmed extensively are often more sensitive to hurting others. And of course, there are those who've been hurt and harmed extensively who have no pity for anyone else in the world and do not care whether they hurt or harm others. It is two reactions which are opposite one another to the exact same situations. And you see this happening all the time. And this is the result of, so to speak, learning. And so the physical creation becomes both a place where you can create as well as a place where you can learn and you can experience for a temporary time. For in every physical incarnation, you know that you will be returning to spirit. But you come into the physical. You've chosen your parents. You've chosen the time period in which you are being born, the place that you are being born, for the politics, all the things that come along with an incarnation, with the place that you are born. And because there are many things in your future that are set up by the place that you were born. In certain societies, you have more limitations than other societies. You may have more freedom. What is the challenge to live a happy, healthy, productive life? These things are all different in all different societies. And so you have an opportunity to make the choice of the parents and the place and the time that you are going to be in, knowing that you will be having certain challenges in your life and certain advantages in your life, for every life has both its challenges and its advantages. So you make these choices, and then you come into the incarnation, and you are but a baby, and you have to grow, you have to develop, and those parents color and shape you by their own heritage and what they have experienced, and the morals and the beliefs of the societies in which they live. And so they shape you, and this shaping gives you certain abilities, and as well as bringing you certain challenges at the same time. And then it is up to you as an adult to go forth and create the best life you can for yourself by what you say and what you do, the actions that you take. So I do not know if I have answered your specific question, but this is how reincarnation works, and the opportunities reincarnation gives to you to create a world. It is important for you to understand how great you are in spirit as an individual manifestation of God. For each of us is an individual manifestation of God. In the physical, we bring with us that ability to create, to imagine, to desire to manifest, that power to think of solutions and the way to do things. We have that ability in the physical world, and it is part of our heritage as being manifested from God by himself. It is important to understand that the created, meaning you, me, and all of this creation in this world, remain as part of he who created us. And I call that one God. But you may think of it as the all, or you may think of it as the one. You may think of it any way that you wish to think of it. But as the one, as everything that is created, always remains part of its creator. You cannot separate yourself from your creator. Just as your father's and your mother's genes and physicalness of their bodies is part of yourself forever and ever, until your body no longer works and is functional and you are free to return to spirit. You will always remain a part of your parents, or your body will always have part of your parents. And you as an individual always remain part of God, and God is part of you. And so you have the talents, the abilities, and the power to manifest a good life for yourself. Everything is contained within you, and it is up to you to find it and to bring it forth and manifest it and use it to create a wonderful life for yourself, one in which you are happy, one in which you enjoy your life. And that as you get old and old enough, you will look back and say, I have done well. I have created a wonderful life. Chances are you won't quite make it, however. That is the way it goes. But you will still have an opportunity to come again at another time and another space and to try again. It is one of the wonderful benefits of being children of God.
Ranka?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If God is a spirit and he created everything, and we're part of him, why is it that when you're in spirit, you can't create anything? You have to be in the physical to create, when God can be a spirit and create.
He's just a little bit more powerful than us.
Okay.
Yes, we are limited, but we are part of his creation. And the spirit part of ourselves is the animating factor of the physical body. And so when we go into the physical body, we bring life. And when we depart the physical body, it is the transition back into spirit, which leaves the physical body in death. So
does God
you animate and you create. Yes, Doug.
Does God choose, or does the individual choose who be born to?
The individual.
And also, do you see, when you're reincarnated, do you not see others, your friends and family that are in heaven?
I became a little lost in your second part of your question. First of all, the first part of the question was, does God choose or do you choose? And I will tell you that you choose. However, you do have friends and family, so to speak, in the spirit world. And you often have advisors, just as you do in the physical world. You have those who are associated most with you. Right. Which perhaps would give their opinions or advise you or make suggestions, but it is ultimately your decision. And that is a very complicated relationship because you and all the rest of us who are in spirit are all connected together and can be well aware of everything that is going on with one another should we desire to be that. Although you do limit your associations to your own circle, so to speak, of friends, former friends, former family members, former associates with whom you have had close relationships on the physical plane. You continue them in spirit. So you are ultimately making the decision. Now, the second part of your question, however, I got a bit lost. Can you remember what it was and repeat it as best you can?
I'm lost myself. I was trying to say, if you are born into this life, does the spirit not spend time or see others that are in heaven, like friends or family that are in heaven?
The possibility for you to be aware of family members and friends who have left the physical earth plane and moved to heaven is available to us all on the physical plane. However, these are skills which are attached to your spirit being. And while your senses in your physical body, the senses in your spiritual body are all mirrored in your physical senses. However, to access them is a different mechanism than with your mind, so that there are individuals who can see spirit. Not everyone will be able to see spirit, but there are individuals who will be able to see spirit. And there are those who will be able to hear spirit, hear words of wisdom, hear words of help, and have conversations if they wish to have them. Ask when you petition spirit to help you, and you wait for a reply, you may be able to hear it. But many people simply do not accept that they are hearing a reply. They believe that it is their own imagination. So there's seeing and there's hearing. There's the ability to sense them, but neither see nor hear. You know that they are present in your life. If you wish to have them near you, you can feel them, but you will not be able to either see or hear. So it is possible to develop yourself in such a way that you can see spirit and that you can hear spirit, that you can see auras, and you can be aware of information at remote distances, because these are all skills which come with your spiritual self, which are within you. So it is up to you. That is why I said that you can come to the information that you need in response to what Robyn was saying about the vaccine, that you can come to your own knowledge and understanding of whether the vaccine is safe from you by simply desiring to know it, and then being open to the understanding that comes into your mind when it comes in. You will come to either think that, yes, it is safe for me. I know it is safe for me. Or I don't believe that it is safe for me. But it is up to you to access that information, because that information can come to you.
Ranka, when you're in spirit and you're choosing to come back, what happens when 2 or 3 spirits want to choose the same thing? Who decides?
Well, sometimes they're twins.
Okay.
But or triplets, not very often. Like any situation, you can work it out. There is no animosity, no fighting over bodies as they become available.
But does that happen?
Oh, no, I just said no. There is no fighting over it. There may be more than one person.
Is there times when the 2 spirits want to choose the same thing? They
Yes.
may not fight over it, but does that happen?
Well,
shopping for a house.
Yes, you may occasionally find a situation where there is more than one spirit who would be interested in coming to this parent, but there is probably no problem, because many families have more than one child, and they would simply take turns. One would come first and one would come second. And that will be by an agreement. There is no reason to fight.
Was there ever a case where one body is inhabited by 2 spirits?
Not from birth, so to speak, but you have all heard of possession. And there have been times when, while in the physical plane, there are individuals who, for whatever reason, begin to dabble in certain aspects of, I am not sure, of exactly which term, because I find as I am looking through the possibilities of different words, such as witchcraft, or there are some which might call devil worship. People, these things they can be harmless, but they can also be harmful. And so people, and very often this happens to younger people, or people who, we will just say younger people, or people of perhaps diminished mental capacity, may find themselves in a situation where they are open to spirits who are not ethical, those that you might have termed devils. And as a result, they may be willing to try to possess a body. And sometimes an individual can be tricked into inviting them into their body, or being with them, and through innocuous phrases or words, they can inadvertently invite a spirit possession, in which case now you would have the spirit inhabiting the body, and then another spirit coming in and dominating the body and the individual who is the rightful owner of the body, so to speak. But this is not very common. I wish to stress that for you, but it does happen. It can happen. Are there other questions?
Yeah, this is good. How do you know when it really is a spirit or one of your loved ones communicating with you and it's not your imagination because you want it so badly? I find as it comes closer to the anniversary of my son's passing, I hear him. I actually, like, his voice will wake me up, but then I think, is it just something that I want? Or, I mean, he's not saying anything more than "Mom, get up," or how are you? Or "I love you," but I don't know if it's my own mind playing a trick on me or if he's really able to communicate. So how would you know the difference?
It is important for you just to believe that he does want to communicate with you. In all probability, he knows of your need and comes to you, particularly, as you say, at the anniversary of his passing. He is more likely to be drawn to you at this point in time. In the beginning, he probably kept somewhat his distance, but after a while, it is not abnormal for an individual to wish to be with and to visit a loved one that they have left behind, particularly if they are aware that their passing, as in the case of your son, was a cause of deep distress. They, in their own way, are trying to assure you of their continued life on the spirit plane. And so you should just accept that what you are hearing is truly your son. Whatever he is saying, however innocuous, it is just to remind you that he is still alive on a different plane without a physical body, and that you still have a relationship with one another.
Ronka?
Yes.
Can we check real quick on Joyce?
Yes, I was going to ask about Joyce.
For those who are here and would not be familiar with Joyce, Joyce was a faithful attendee of the circle when she lived in New Jersey, and she could come to circle, and she would drive herself to the circle and attend very regularly, and she has recently passed into spirit. One moment, please. Yes, I can see Joyce, and Joyce is there, and she is just as feisty, but she is very happy. And so that is important, that she is, that you, of course, you know that she is very happy.
She's getting all the food required?
She's leaving all the eating to you, Bob.
Okay. I've taken over her title.
She left it behind. She had no need to take it with her.
She used to get it with her sister.
I believe her sister is still on the physical plane.
Okay.
So, for those of you who were curious about Joyce, and I don't know if you could hear the comment from Bob about asking about the food. It was because they always accused one another of eating all the refreshments up that were served after circle or after church. It was their little joke. So it is growing time. I think it is nearly time for me to say goodnight. So is there any last question?
Yes. I wanted to ask you about what you were talking about before, about the, I guess, not so nice spirits that could possess people.
Yes.
Where are they? I mean, are they like right there with you or where?
I understand the question, but you know that when you are not on the physical plane, the where is a question that cannot be answered. Mm-hmm. They are simply not on the physical plane any longer, but they exist in spirit. And they are, I guess the best way to put it is that they do tend to say closer to the earth plane than to be fully participating with those of us who have not succumbed to an association with lesser individuals as they have done, and have not lost that our ethical personas as they have done. So it's not a question that is easily answered, simply because there is, when you are not in the physical world, the spiritual world simply is, it exists. It does not have, if you have something that is not physical, its existence is not the same as something in the physical. It is not three-dimensional.
Right, but you all have minds, so are they like blended with your minds too? I mean, and how come everybody else dies and they're happy and these people are not?
Usually because they were discontented on the earth plane. And they were not happy in their lives on the earth plane, and they were busy blaming others for their situations, and they were not ethical people on the earth plane. So therefore, when they transitioned, their complete lack of ethics and knowledge of understanding of right and wrong almost prevents them from joining the rest of us. They have the ability to progress if they wish, but most of the time they have been, are self-denying as the only way I can express it.
And will they come back into physical reality when they want to?
Most of them cannot reincarnate.
Good. Of course, now we have to go back to the poor Mr. Hitler, because everybody says, you know, an awful person he was. So, and I remember several times it's been brought up to you, and you said, well, you know, once he's gone, he knows what he did wrong, and so on and so forth. So would he be considered that type of spirit, or did he help himself?
No, because he actually had a greater good in mind. And do you understand?
Oh.
While it may have been a bit selfish, well, it was extremely selfish, partially for his own desire for power. He also had a desire to bring the German people into what he considered to be their full righteous place in the world, which they were clearly superior to other people in his mind and his opinion. And so therefore, part of what he did was for the greater good of all those German people at that time. So you see, he was misguided, greatly misguided. However, he was not deliberately evil. He was simply eliminating people who were not suitable to live on the earth. Do you understand? Misguided, very sick as a person on the physical plane. However, not totally, he had not given himself over to total lack of ethics.
Okay, just one more question. The not so good spirits, are they powerful enough to like enter us without our permission, or do we have to be acceptable to it?
No, they cannot enter you without your permission.
Okay.
It is always through trickery that they manage to come into possession of your physical body.
Alrighty, thank you.
You are welcome. And I think it is now time for me to say good night. And so I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good.
Hi, I'm back.
Good night.
I hope you all enjoyed yourself this evening, and it is time for me to say goodnight too. So remember, I love you all, and we will see you next week, okay?
Night, Juana.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.